We're picking up on Scripts for Success. We're picking up on where we left off on Friday. And I had 7 scripts for you and 7 script objection responses for you. I've added a few more, and we're going to pick up right where we left off. Seller wants to price the home above market. All right, a couple of different conversations we can have here. One of them would be, we can either chase the market or we can create the market. And one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a picture just like this when I'm sitting at the listing table. Now I'm going to get a marker out here in just a second. It's going to be more legible. And what I want you to do is I just want you to draw kind of an up-down curve that looks like that. Now, I want you to write on the left side of the paper, seller market. And on the right side of the paper, I want you to write buyer market. And what I want you to do is I want you to draw an arrow that's going up on the left side of the paper and an arrow that is going down on the right side of the paper, which I'm doing right now. And I want you to just explain to the sellers that when we're in a market of less than 30 days of inventory, less than 90 days of inventory, we've got this arrow that's going up. And in this market, we should price properties based on the solds. Super important, write it down. However, when the market begins to shift, and the market doesn't, the National Association of Realtors says anything less than 3 months of inventory is a seller's market. I agree. National Association of Realtors also says 3 to 6 months is a stable market. I don't agree with that. And anything greater than 6 months is a buyer's market. I do agree with that. Now, here's what I mean. What I mean is as soon as that market gets to be above 90 days, I want you to start treating it like a seller's market because a seller's market is coming soon. Stable markets don't last very long. They might last 90 days max before you start to see inventory go from 3 months of inventory to 6 months of inventory, before you start to see prices start to drop. And prices are already starting to drop, depending on where you live. Where you're joining us from this morning, you've seen prices dropping for the last 3 or 4 months, and then maybe some of you haven't. But if you haven't, you will. One of the things you hear me say a lot is this time like that time. Is it possible that this time is like that time? And in the conversation here today, I want you to think about, is this market anything like the market we saw between 2008 and 2010? Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, no, it's not. And my response is, you might be right. And what if it is? Now, when prices are going up, base the price of the listing on the solds. I want you to look at it this way. When a home sells in a seller's market, it creates a new floor. Please write that down in script that you want to use. Meaning that when a home sells, comparable properties that we're using for your property are selling at 540, 550, 560, the next home is going to sell for 570, 580 because the last home that sold created a new floor. The next home is going to sell for more money. However, when the market starts to decrease, when we're in this market over here, the last home that sold creates a new ceiling, meaning the next home that sells is going to sell for less money. And that's why it's important when you're in, this is fascinating. When you're in this market over here, it's super important to look at the actives. You're going to look at the solds too, but you're going to look at the actives more. And here's why. In order to sell your home in a market that's starting to decrease, you have to beat the competition. Now, you have 2 choices here. This is where create the market or chase the market comes in. If, let's say, the current market value of your home is $545,000, and you've got a seller who thinks they're still in the market they were in 6 months ago. You've got other real estate agents who think they're still in the same market that we were in 6 months ago. And they want to price the property at 565, 575. here's what I'm going to tell them. If the current market value is $545,000, in order to get your home sold, the right strategy is probably to price it at $535,000. In other words, price it below market value in order to get it sold, because you have to beat the competition. And I want to price where the market is going. It's going to be here in 60 days. It's going to be here in 90 days. We have a new dog visiting us, so I have extra dog noise going on in the background. I apologize, guys. We want to price where the market is going. Everybody got that? All right, so you can either create the market or you can chase the market. You want to price based on solds when you have less than 90 days of inventory, and you want to price based on actives when you have more than 90 days of inventory. Cool. All right. Here's the other diagram that I want you to draw. And I do a lot of pictures when I'm sitting at the listing table. You know, Zig Ziglar used to call it, pull out your thinking pad and start drawing, start taking notes. And I am simply going to take a piece of paper. I'm going to draw a vertical line on the left side, a horizontal line at the bottom of the graph. In other words, it's going to create that picture. And I'm going to say to the seller, let's see if I can do this with you guys seeing as I draw. Testing my talent here. All right. We've got market value at $545,000. That's what the market says the home is going to sell for. And you've got a seller that wants $570,000. Now remember, sellers go to script school too. And the good news for you is they don't have very many scripts. One of their scripts is the buyer can always make an offer. Write it down because you're going to hear it a lot. Another one of their scripts is if the home doesn't sell, we could always lower the price later. So when that seller says, I want $570,000, but the market is saying $545,000. I'm going to pull out this piece of paper. I'm going to draw this picture and I'm going to say, okay, in my experience, here's what happens. The market, pull out a different color. When we put your home on the market 0 days, for 30 days, the market's going up. And then it's going to start falling until about 180 days out. Your next door neighbor doesn't even know the home is for sale. Now, our goal in the first 30 days is to be in the market. This is in the market. This is not in the market. Our goal is to be in the market in the first 30 days. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what typically happens is around 90 days out, a seller will come to me and they'll say, John, you know what? You were right. Go ahead and lower the price to $545,000. But here's the problem with that. When we do that, we've missed the market. We are still above this market. Now, a buyer comes in about 120 days and they love your home. Well, the first question they're going to ask is, how long has it been on the market? The real estate agent says 120 days. The next question they're going to ask is, what's wrong with it? The real estate agent says absolutely nothing. It's a great house. Now, if you're the buyer, what are you thinking? I know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking opportunity. I'm thinking I've got an opportunity to get this property at a great price. So what typically happens, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, every single word of this is a script. Listen to this over and over again and write it down. All right. What typically happens, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is a buyer is going to come in and they're going to make an offer of $520,000. And I have a question for you. Are you more motivated as a seller at 120 days? Or are you more motivated at 30 days? Well, you're more motivated at 120 days. You might actually even be desperate. You might have to sell your home now. And in my experience, again, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what typically happens is a seller will take the offer, super unhappy, but they're going to take the offer. And the home sold for $520,000 when it could have sold for $545,000 in 30 days. And you ended up losing $25,000 trying to make an extra $25,000. Pause and let that sit for a moment. Now, there's still more. It's like the Ginsu steak knife thing. All right. From 30 to 120 days, you have 90 days of holding costs. 90 additional days that your home didn't sell. And if your holding cost is $4,000 a month, you lost another $12,000. In other words, you paid $12,000 not to sell your home. Write it down. You've lost a total of $37,000 trying to make an extra $25,000. And if this were you, how would that make you feel? Now, the other graph that I'm going to get out, I'm going to just keep drawing pictures because the seller could say, well, that's why I'm hiring you. That's what your marketing is for. And my response to that is, this is the phishing script. My response to that is, I get it. And you hired me to take you fishing. I had the best boat that money can buy. I have the best fishing equipment that money can buy. I have the right bait to catch the fish that we want to catch. And however, I took you to a spot right here. I even know where the fish are. They're here. And we hung our bait 3 feet above the water. How many fish are we going to catch? The answer is none. We have to get down here where the fish are. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is 575. You're fishing with your bait out of the water. This is 545. You're fishing where the fish, you've got your bait where the fish are. What do you think we should do? What do you think we should do should be the question that you close with. Go back to the first drawing that I did for you, or the last drawing that I did for you. After you explain this, you draw this out just like I did. You use every single word exactly like I did. And when you get to this space where you say you lost $37,000 trying to make an extra $25,000, you close with, what do you think we should do? Now, what do you think I want to hear?
Price it below and let's go fishing.
There we go. Are you ready to get started?
John, I have a quick question. To
I
price
did,
it
yeah.
below, when pricing it, how much under the market price? Should we price it like 10,000? Is there a percentage?
Great
Depends on the
question.
price of the home. I don't.
It's a great question, Vivian. Look at all of the active properties that you're going to be competing with. All right. So you're going to go into price ranges, either $25,000 or $50,000 price ranges, whichever one is going to give you the most data. In other words, I don't want to see 4 or 5 active listings. I want to see 12 to 18 at least. Because it's a different competition if I'm competing against 18 people than it is if I'm competing against 4. So $25,000 to $50,000 increments, whichever is going to give you the most data. Now, the next thing I want you to do, Vivian, let's say that price range that you're looking at, I'll stay in the theme here, and that price range that you're looking at is 5 to 550 or 550 to 500, because those are the two different 600. So I'm looking at 5 to 550, and I'm looking at 550 to 600. In this example, this price down here is 5 to 550. This price here is 550 to 600. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at all of the properties that I'm competing with. And maybe in this example, I'm going to laser in on the 525 to 550, as long as I've got enough data. And when the market starts to shift, the formula is top 25% in condition, amenities, and location. In other words, I'm going to look at all of the properties that we're competing against, and I'm going to ask you, based on your home competing against these other homes, are you in the top 25% when it comes to being the shining star? Use that script, being the shining star. Are you standing out from the competition in location, condition, and amenities? And if you are, good. The next part of this formula is we want to be in the bottom 25% in price. So how far do you price below the market? Depends on where do you need to be in order to be in the bottom 25% of the competition. If you're in the bottom 25% versus your competition in price, and you're in the top 25% in condition, amenities, upgrades, location, sold.
Okay, taking notes. Thank you.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Got it, girl. All right, the next script I want you to work on is my friend's a real estate agent. All right, I understand. You're going to hear this one a lot. I mean, who's not a real estate agent? Who doesn't know somebody that's a real estate agent? My answer to this one is, you know, Terry, I get it. And you don't owe them anything. And you certainly don't owe me anything. But you do owe yourself the opportunity to hire the best agent for the job. Wouldn't you agree? I love tie downs. I use them all the time, and I only use them when I know I'm going to get the answer I want. I mean, you do owe it to yourself to hire the best agent for the job. Wouldn't you agree? Okay, imagine somebody saying, no, I want to hire a lousy agent. Of course, they're going to say yes. And if I was the best agent for the job, you would want to hire me, wouldn't you? Now, here's a win-win, Terry. You've got a friend who's a real estate agent. What if I paid your friend a 25% referral fee and you can hire me? You could hire the best agent for the job. Your friend wins because they got paid. You won because your home sold. And if you hire a friend, if you hire a family member and it's not going well, how are you going to feel about telling your friend you're not happy? Is it possible you might lose a friend over this? If you have to fire your friend or your family member, how's that going to go over? And remember, you don't owe them anything. You certainly don't owe me anything, but you do owe yourself the opportunity to hire the best agent for the job. I want to hire a neighborhood expert. So, Eileen, I'm just talking to people that are on my camera. Hello, Eileen. And hello. There you go. I want to hire a neighborhood expert. Yeah, I understand. And if you hire the neighborhood expert, then it's probably true they have other listings in your neighborhood. Yes?
Agreed. Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's say they have 2 or 3 listings in your neighborhood and they win regardless of which property they sell.
Right.
In other words, what's their motivation to sell your home? And is it possible they can even use your home to sell another one? Let's say your home was a brand new listing because you hired the neighborhood expert. It's on the market less than 30 days, and they've got another home in your neighborhood that's been on the market more than 90 days. Who do you think they're more motivated to sell? The one that's over 90 days, because that person's not happy.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, and is it possible they bring a buyer to your home and the buyer says, I like it, it's nice. And the real estate agent says, wait till you see the next one.
Interesting. I never really thought about it like that. I always thought if I was hiring the neighborhood expert, that she would be the best person for my home.
It's possible. Now, if you were to hire me, listen to all of the embedded commands, everybody. If you were to hire me, your home would be the only home that I have on the market in your neighborhood. In other words, the only way that I win is when your home sells. Now, who's more motivated to get your home sold? The neighborhood expert or me?
It's amazing.
You know, if it were me, I would rather hire someone who's working hard to become the neighborhood expert versus someone who's already the neighborhood expert. And by the way, for everybody who's newer to real estate, this works with, I want to hire somebody with more experience. You know, I like you, but you're brand new. Here's your response to that. I am brand new. Absolutely. And that's exactly why you should hire me. Can I explain? You see, I would rather hire someone who's working hard to become the local professional of choice versus someone who is already the local professional of choice. And anyways, that agent at some point, they needed somebody to be the first person who hired them. You could be that person for me. So what should we do? All right. Patricia, I see your hand up. Please don't put it down. I want you to spend more money on marketing. This is going to be the last one today, guys. So put your hand in the air if you have any questions. We could do this for weeks, just so you know. Okay. I've spent 20 years and 17,000 hours accumulating scripts. Remember, this is my one thing. I stink at everything else. All right. So I want you to spend more money on marketing. And Patricia, since your hand is up, I'll just go with you on this one. Now, I can appreciate the fact that you want me to spend more money on marketing. This is someone who's hired you. This is someone whose home's been on the market 90 days, 120 days, it's not selling. 60 days, it's not selling. I want you to spend more money on marketing. And Patricia, I'd be more than happy to spend more money on marketing, but spending more money on marketing when we're not at the right price is just telling more people that your home is overpriced. Let me ask you a question. Publix, I don't know if they have Publix where everybody is on this call, but it's a store, okay. Publix is selling milk and they're selling milk for $5 a gallon. I don't even know how much milk costs. Don't anybody tell me it's not part of the conversation. And let's just say they're selling it for $5 a gallon. It normally sells for $3.50 a gallon. Okay, fine. Gallon of milk is $3.50. Publix wants $5. And they're going to spend a ton of money on marketing. They're going to put billboards down the street. Buy milk at Publix. Buy milk at Publix. Publix has the best milk you can buy. And they're selling it for $5 a gallon. And Walmart directly across the street is selling it for $3.50. Is more marketing going to cause people to buy milk at a price that's above the market just because they're spending more money on marketing? No, it's just telling more people that the product is overpriced. All right, Patricia, talk to me.
So I have a question. I have a house on the market right when it started shifting, and the seller does not want to reduce the price to my suggested price. And he says, well, then I'd rather rent it. Just what he needs to sell, but he'd rather rent it and wait until the market comes back to sell at his price.
We could talk
Thoughts on that?
Yeah, we could talk on this one for a while. Thank you for bringing that up, by the way. So Patricia, can you role play with me?
Sure.
All right, Patricia, if renting your home, I get it. That might be the right strategy, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And side note off script, you can never want something more than the seller does. You can never want something more for somebody else than they want it for themselves. So you don't want to get into a position where you are debating on this. You actually want to get on their side and be their partner and help them make a good decision. So Patricia, I get it. Renting your home might be the right decision. Might be a good idea. However, before you do that, if you rented your home, what's your greatest fear?
Sometimes that you have to put money back on it to get it ready again for sale. In this
Okay.
situation, he's renting another home. He needs to buy another home and he
Patricia,
can't
please.
buy if he doesn't. Okay,
Time
Sorry.
out. Don't tell me the situation. Just role play the
Okay.
conversation with me.
okay,
And pretend we're not talking about this guy.
okay.
I want you to put yourself in the seller's position. You're the seller.
Yeah,
If you were to rent your home, what's your greatest fear?
they trash the property
Mhm. Yeah.
and then I have to put money back
Mhm.
in it. That's
Yeah.
one thing. And then the other thing is, I don't know what the market's gonna do when I have to sell or when I get ready to put it back on the market.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the unknown.
Okay. And is it possible that they're not paying rent and you have to evict them?
That too, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you rent your home, you might end up having somebody in your home who's not paying rent. Your rent's $3,000 a month and it takes 90 days to evict them. You've lost $9,000 in income. And you get the property back with $20,000 in damage.
Mhm.
Now, as the homeowner, are you okay with that?
No, I'm not.
And you shouldn't rent.
Mhm.
That's the script. Now, the other thing I want to do is I want to take them to harm's way. And remember, people are more motivated by avoiding pain than they are by going towards pleasure. You know, Patricia, if you rented your home and you lost $29,000 in income and damages to the house, and now you've got the property back 4 months from now, it takes a month to get it ready to put it back on the market. It's 5 months from now, and your home is worth less money than it is today. How do you feel about that?
I would not be happy about that.
Yeah, what if the price decreased to a place where you can no longer afford to sell it? And not only do you have the house back 4 months from now, 5 months from now, but now you're in it for another year. So instead of being where you want to be, remember, logic makes us think, emotion makes us act. So take them back to the emotion. Let's pretend I know you want to move to Atlanta, and I know you want to move to Atlanta in order to be with family. So a year from now, you're not in Atlanta with your family. Your children are not with their grandparents. You're still in your home and you cannot afford to sell it. How do you feel about that?
That's not a good situation.
What if this market was like 2008, 9, and 10? Now, off script, I want everybody to hear this. I've probably got Patricia at a pain point where she's ready to make the right decision already, but I'm not going to let up. I'm parking on pain. I want her to feel this pain. It should be very uncomfortable for Patricia. Now, not only are you in your home for a year, but let's say the market takes 2 years to correct. It takes another 3 years to come back. So 5 years from now, your home will be worth what it is today, which means you're still in your home for 5 years versus being in Atlanta with your family. How do you feel about that?
Not a good situation.
So what do you think we should do?
Price it correctly right now.
Yeah. Now this guy's already a good job. Now this guy's already on the market, right?
Yes.
So what's the list price?
$499.
Say it again.
$499.
$499. So this is the where does your heart stop script. Patricia, if you had an offer today for $490, knowing what you know, we've just had the conversation about renting. We've just had the conversation about what the future looks like. If you had an offer today for $490, what would you do?
I would take it.
Yeah, I agree. What if it was $485?
I would take it.
Yeah. Now, Patricia, I want you to remember the choice here is sell your home or still be in your home maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. Tell me where your heart stops. In other words, what does a price look like that you would accept and sell your home so you can move to Atlanta and be with your family versus staying in your home for the next 5 years? Where does your heart stop?
Where does it stop?
At what point are you not selling your home? Meaning, how low does the price have to go before you're not selling your home?
Well, in this case, this particular case, I do
Nope,
have a lot of equity.
You're the seller. Keep going.
I would like to at least get some profit to use as down payment for my next home.
That's an option. And what does a price look like that you would accept and sell your home?
425 and still have a profit that I could use for a down payment.
Right, we got a lot of room here. So this is where your expertise comes in, Patricia, and you're gonna tell him where you believe he needs to be in order to be top 25% in condition, bottom 25% in price. And if somebody gives me a price that low, my response is gonna be, well, the good news for you is we're not gonna have to go that low. But what I do see is we're looking at about 450 in order to give you the best chance of selling your home in the next 30 days.
Mhm.
What do you think we should do?
Price it correctly so we get it sold.
What does correctly look like to you?
Let's start at 459 and have some wiggle room.
If we're at 459 and the buyer who was going to give you 450 didn't see your home and didn't make an offer and you're still in your home 6 months from now, how would you feel about that?
Let's try it. Let's try it for a week. And if we don't get an offer, then we'll go ahead and reduce it.
I love this. I'm having so much fun. Back to this. Back to this. I've sat at a kitchen table for an hour over $10,000 because I knew that's what needed to happen.
Yeah. Playing
I'm
devil's
not-
advocate. That's
I'm
what we
not
get all the
gonna
time.
Give in until she says 450.
Okay.
So since we're already over time, Patricia, safe, let's go ahead and lower it to 450.
Okay. Let's price it at 450 then.
All right, I'll make the change today. Now our home is sold. Hey, by the way, I want Patricia to feel better because I don't want her to feel like she gave her home away. By the way, when I said sellers go to script school too, that's one of their scripts. I don't want to give my home away.
Mhm.
So Patricia, if we sold your home for 450 in the next 30 days, and a year from now, it's worth 410. Did you give your home away?
Absolutely not.
Are you in Atlanta with your family?
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Best decision I ever made.
Does the pain of selling your home for 450 hurt as much a year from now as it does today?
No.
Yeah. So we should go ahead and lower to 450. Don't you agree?
Let's do it.
All right. Good job, Patricia.
Thank
All
you,
right,
John.
talk to me, guys. What did you hear?
Lots of value. Thank you. I like the way you explained to set the price where it's the top 25% as far as condition and then the lower 25% as far as price.
Agree. Yeah. There you go, Vivian. All right.
I like allowing them to see the future and like walking through the scenarios of the future with them. All right, if we do this, this is what it looks like, and then you're with your family, you're meeting on your goals, which is what they want. And then if we don't do this, then you're stuck here. So I think that's a very lucrative or a very positive way to help them move in the right direction. And a lot of people don't know I do because I've done some of the KW training, but the inflection you use, the hire me, that phrase, and then I know you're supposed to bring it down, like hire me, like that's it's good, and it was a good reminder because I've not heard that again in a few years. So
Yeah, it's neurolinguistic programming, and that's the language of real estate from Diana Kokoska. It's powerful. And Robin, it's on the future. It's this box, okay? It's present positive, future positive. Take them to future positive. What does that feel like? Why are you selling your home? Why is that important to you? What will that do for you? Paint a really positive picture around that. Remember, logic makes us think, emotion makes us act. Now, present negative. What are the obstacles that are standing between you and where you want to be? Well, in Patricia's case, her seller's at 595 when they're at 495 when they should be at 450. Huge obstacle. If we don't remove this obstacle, where are we going to be? future negative. Now I'm going to go to future negative and I'm going to park there. That's pain. We're more motivated by avoiding future negative than we are by going towards future positive.
Love it.
All right, guys, hope you got great value today. It is 9:10, so time to get to work. I will see everybody tomorrow morning at 8:30. Thank you for being here. Share the link with your friends. If you want to reach out to me, it's coachjohndietz@gmail.com. Dietz is D-I-E-T-Z. It's diet with a Z, or call me at 727-686-0404, or send me a text.
Thank you, John.
Make it a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
My pleasure.